That's carried. Over to James Goff for the Chairperson's report on the Central City Development Forum.
Cheers. So you note that this is going to come regularly, just attach the dashboard, so it gives it a bit of visibility and gives any councillors an opportunity to ask any questions. I will be a little bit cheeky if you don't mind, and might just focus a bit more on the meeting yesterday, even though this is technically for the one prior, but it's more current. We had a good meeting yesterday, and you'll also note that there's a supplementary paper around the innovation precinct later on in the meeting that came from some recommendations from yesterday's development forum. Largely the Central City Action Plan is on track. You know, there's a lot of progress happening. Still, as you all know, there's a lot less leasable floor space than pre-quake numbers. Housing challenging. There is demand there, and it seems to be going reasonably well for the lower valued properties. It's the higher ones which are actually struggling. Also encouraging that people are actually buying places too without car parks, though a lot of those, the trend is that a lot of them are Airbnbs and rentals, but still there is an appetite for a lack of car parking. Well, the majority of them are, about 70% of them, but it's still an encouraging trend anyway, and giving people that option is positive. The only other thing that I just would add too, yesterday we've asked for an addition to be added to that dashboard, and it's just a case of, you know, you can't manage what you don't measure, but I think having some metrics around the dwelling numbers, residential population numbers, worker population numbers, and an interesting one that I'd be keen to see is the conversion rate of consents into titles, because, you know, there's a lot of obviously projects which get to the consent stage, but then due to a range of pressures, whether it's demand or financing, don't convert into being completed, which is something that I think we should keep oversight on. Other than that, I can take the dashboard as read, but if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
Whereabouts is the dashboard on the council website?
Pass. It's obviously on the agenda there, but it would be great if we could have it on the website.
No, it's supposed to be. Can someone help me out from... Does anyone know? Because the only reason I raise it was that yesterday's development forum had a May update, and I just wondered whether we should circulate that as well. I know that we're going to improve the quality of, well, add some additional information to it, but I just wondered whether
I'm getting the oops page.
If there's other stuff too that people would like on that dashboard, or you think that you'd find helpful, very open to it, so just let me know.
No. Okay, well, we'll just make sure, because I mean, I think it's worth following up that one, that the dashboard is reported publicly, because I think people are interested in seeing that progress. And
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Tim.
Yeah, and apologies I couldn't make the forum yesterday, Jamie, but
You're right.
or James. Sorry. One thing I'd be kind of, whether it's anecdotal, if you could come back to me, not in this whenever, about the different views between we're encouraging development inside the 4 avenues, which is crucial, but we're also, with our district plan, is encouraging infill outside in that, say, green belt between, say, the 4 avs and those inner suburbs, whether it's Spraydon, Addington, Waltham, all those, and obviously some of that land is cheaper than the central city. So it'd be if you could come back with some anecdotal information, is that a hindrance, or is it how that affects the central city?
It's interesting you actually mentioned that. It's quite timely, and it's a bit of a side note, but I just had a chairs meeting yesterday for the Reg and Consents Committee, and it's just around staff have just undertaken some work on whether there's any district plan type issues that could be tweaked in directly touching on that and in that space, so I can share that stuff with you too.
I guess the really good example of that in New Zealand would be if you look at Auckland and those inner city, or not the right in it, but those ones further out. You know, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 25 years ago, they were pretty well rubbish. They were run down. Now they are the absolute key to, you know, if you bought the property there 20 years ago, you'd be rolling in it.
The city fringe stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. So you'd like to move that, James?
Happy to move. I think Yanni's got a question.
Oh.
Have you considered having any, again based on the Regen report, any sort of creative / innovative measures in the dashboard, and equally the environmental measures as well, which Regen said were missing from the central city? So just wondered if you'd thought about any environmental measures to the Central City dashboard and any creative indicators?
To be perfectly honest with you, no. I guess we could. I'm conscious that I want to keep it tight and keep it clean because there's lots of good things that we could add to it, but I'm open to it, but I hadn't given it any thought yet. There's just so many things that we are monitoring though too, but it is something that we could look at, and I can certainly raise it with Carolyn and David as the committee advisor.
Okay. We're doing a whole thing on climate change and sustainability. It seems kind of odd that it's not more of a focus.
Yeah, the amenity was is certainly a focus of one of the reports yesterday.
Amenity,
but
yeah.
Not everyone could make it to yesterday's meeting for some
Are
reason.
you meaning more perhaps potentially metrics around green buildings and that sort of stuff?
And
or
just anything that
okay.
addresses sustainability and
No,
the
I'll-
environmental impact of what's happening in the central city, whether it's buildings converted from existing to you know refurbished rather than being rebuilt, whatever.
That's a good suggestion.
But then the other one was the kind of creative indicators, the creative/innovative indicators, and I know you've got another report, but it does seem something we should be measuring as well if we can.
No, I agree with you.
Very good. So seconded
Happy
by
to move.
Sarah. So moved by James, seconded by Sarah. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.